So when I was a kid, man, like I was living in the present with everything in my life. Like I enjoyed playing a lot of video games. I also enjoyed like just going outside to play outside. And I also enjoyed just, having a good time riding my bike and just thinking that nothing or everything is going to last forever. But then you grow up, you go to school, you've been told that you got to have a job or have some type of career to provide yourself in order to provide for you, your family, and whatnot in the future, whatever you like it or not. Unfortunately, in this part of life that a lot of us are not really questioned about it at all, it makes you really wonder is like, is this even the life that we're supposed to do? Or is there other things out there that we can do, but no one really has told us? But there was one thing that I was always struggling with my life in general was that I really never wanted to work, no matter how old I was. Like I do remember being a kid, dude, and hearing the idea of having to work eventually in my life. It just sounds absolutely miserable. Like there was a lot of people who were kids that couldn't wait to grow up, but not me, man. And I gotta say, was I had a very bad video game addiction as well. So I'd play PlayStation 2 all day, and I would think that maybe I could just play video games all day as a kid, and just ignore all these problems until I got older. But man, this ended up being a giant mistake as I got older. So this other YouTuber I've watched that did some commentary with World at War called Kneecap Jake, he made a video about never running a job. And actually, it really spoke to me in a lot of ways because I could relate to a lot of it as well. And I gotta say is that this kind of brought me some inspiration to kind of have my own story about what happened to me with my life and my struggles of not ever wanting to work. Like growing up, dude, my household wasn't that great. Like I didn't realize how toxic it was because I was just really naive. But I gotta say was that I was actually favored a lot as the only child of my family. So my family just let me play video games all day and let me have a PS2 and everything. And I did think it was really awesome that my family would let me have a PlayStation 2. And since I was the only boy, that no one else really wanted to play my system but me. So I thought that shit was amazing. But as I was playing my video games all day as in a really bad addiction, and I gotta say is my parents didn't really discipline me that much on them because they wanted to see me happy. And I did like my video games all day at the time. But I remember my dad coming in and telling me that, one day, dude, you can't play these video games all day. You gotta have a job and work. And my fucking 10-year-old ass was saying stuff like, I never want to work, Dad. I just want to play video games all day. And that statement never spoke any truther than now. For a lot of my childhood, I really struggled for a long time what I wanted to do with my life because everybody in school was kind of figuring stuff out. And I remember I was not good at school at all. I was very bad at school. I actually had a really terrible work ethic in high school because I just did not want to do anything because I didn't like the work. And then no one really questioned it but me at the time saying like, is this all even worth it? Like what's the point of going to school for all this shit anyways? It was pretty bad too. Like I was having a lot of self-doubt that I would get my life together and that I would figure something out financially was something I liked doing. Even though I liked computers and stuff, I realized it was that like I didn't really like the work. Even though my parents really encouraged me to do something with IT professionals and computers, I really did not enjoy the networking side of things or anything like that. The only thing I did enjoy was the hardware. But like I just did not want to do it as a job because I realized is I enjoy doing this for myself but not for others, if that makes sense. And there's a lot of people who struggle with this type of shit too, with like video editing or something as well. But when I was a kid, dude, this whole time, ever since like 2007, I would also watch a lot of YouTube videos. And you know what I did with a lot of YouTube videos? I watched a lot of gaming videos because I did used to think it was extremely fascinating to watch videos about other video games that I couldn't afford at the time because, my family didn't have that much money, so I couldn't afford to get every single game that I wanted at the time. But there were some games I did discover new too because of YouTube, and I loved it. And then I found out later on that a lot of people were getting paid to play either video games or get paid to do whatever they want for content creation. And since I was also younger, playing with my Sony Ericsson phone, wanting to make videos and vlogs and shit, that I thought that shit was to be the dopest thing ever and give me a lot more freedom than working a job I didn't like. For the longest time too, I didn't realize that I had this some type of entrepreneurial mindset without even realizing what entrepreneurship even was. Like the first time I even heard of it was in high school, learning personal finance on an online class. But it kind of finally hit me when I turned like 16 that yes, I want to be a content creator because this shit would be fun. I enjoyed making videos, and hell, dude, even when I was 16 years old, I even made videos on this channel back then. If you guys don't believe me, you could look it up. It's all free there to use. But man, it's one hell of a journey looking back. But once I turned 18, dude, that I finally got my first job because I had controlling parents boss that would not let me work, and I didn't realize how toxic it was when I was living there, that I wasn't able to work until I was a graduate from high school. But I remember being afraid of having a job in general because I used to thought jobs like this were always going to be toxic because how my mom would constantly complain about jobs being like toxic and all the drama she would get into. And yes, I do believe that some jobs are toxic, but the way my mom would complain was really bad to the point where it sounded like a fucking teen girl complaining about fucking family drama like at their boyfriend's house or something. Like, it was really bad. As soon as I got into the workforce, I was like, okay, this job did suck a little bit, but I realized was, wow, it really wasn't that terrible, like in terms of like the drama and stuff. Like, I don't know where my mom was coming from, but it also kind of hit me was it was not actually the job, it was actually her the whole time. And then seeing the different types of coworkers, I was just like, oh yeah, that's where it is. That's where it comes from. A lot of these coworkers are like this sometimes. So my mom ended up becoming one of those really stereotypical toxic coworkers that no one really likes to be around. But then as I got older, I realized there was a lot of things I wanted to do with my life that was more than just, getting a basic paycheck. So what I did was I decided to do some more crazy shit that a lot of people would not really do, if that makes sense. I'll never forget the first thing I did was to test my patience of how long I could last at a long shift at job. So what I did was I started picking up other jobs off the temp agencies while working my main job, and I also had 2 jobs at first to try to test this. And yeah, it was a big learning experience, but then again, it kind of set up my tolerance for what type of work I did, because I do remember working a 6-hour shift was like, damn, this was a lot of work and tiring. But then once I started testing myself to like 13 to 15-hour days at times, yeah, that kind of tested my standards of working a shift and made me realize was if I could do these shifts, I could do about anything. And I realized if you voluntarily work at something that long, you can handle other things too. Now, I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate with this, but for some reason, dude, I feel like voluntary overtime is a lot better with long shifts. It's a million times better than doing mandatory overtime where you basically have no choice or you'll get fired. Like, I don't know, just for some reason, like I feel a lot better when I voluntarily do it. But that's what also made me realize too was that I do like working, but I don't like doing it for other people. So that's what made me realize was, yeah, maybe I should start doing things on my own thing. So that's when I started with gig apps, and I really enjoyed that too, because like I said, it was voluntarily and I didn't mind it. So I was like, shit, now let's make this passive. Like the whole time I did have a YouTube channel, but at the time it just was not popping off, unfortunately. But I never gave up because it was fun. Another thing I realized too was there was a lot of adults walking around enjoying their life in some ways, but deep down somewhere, dude, it's their inner child wanting to come out and express themselves, but either they're really afraid to express themselves, or they just think that, oh, just because society says so that I can't do it anymore. There's a lot of inner child in a lot of us, I realize, and it's not just adults, it's also for teenagers as well. And another reason why I did not want to work for the longest time too as a kid was I just don't like routine. I realized was I hated routine for the longest time, even going to school. That's why I did not like high school or any type of school at all when I was younger, because having to wake up early and have a routine all the time is just not for everybody, and it was definitely not for me, because school and work really does not like creative minds at all. I've noticed, like, even though there was graphic design classes and everything where they also designed those people or try to groom those people into fucking becoming workers for other people with limited ideas and not ideas of their own. And a lot of us has been struggling that childhood feeling too, like what made me the most fulfilling back as a kid where I didn't have to worry about anything else, and part of it was freedom and responsibility. And that's why I thought I'm going to take the hardest step in the world and try to pursue freedom. Financial freedom is key. I've mentioned this a few times in my videos, but I gotta say it, dude. It's definitely the closest thing you're going to get to feeling like a kid again, but with all the adult benefits. Like for me, it was never about the money, dude. It's just about having the freedom of doing whatever you want and whenever you want. And that's amazing, dude, because imagine every day, guys, you could just wake up with no alarm, being able to do what you need to do, and then make about $2,000-3,000 a month just to be able to get by and save a little bit. Like shit, wouldn't that be a lot more amazing? Because you wouldn't hear no fucking boss bitch at you all the time, and it's just your own time in your own way. It's great. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to downplay you, say like, oh dude, that is not the safest way. Oh dude, it's not this. But trust me, dude, do not let these people lie to you. If you're going to work your ass off for it, at least do it for yourself. And yes, it's not going to be an easy path, but you know what, dude, it will be worth it. Now, I will say is that it's very dumb to do this if you don't have any type of plan, but if you have a very solid plan, and if you plan on having multiple backup plans while you do it as well, and also be able to just constantly keep trying things, it will pay off, trust me. As long as you have a giant savings account too, that I think you will be fine. Just a lot of people are afraid of the unknown. Also, a wise man has told me is choose your hard. Or would you rather be poor and make everything hard, or would you rather go through something that's extremely difficult in order for you to pay off in the long run for success? It really does depend on the end of the day of what hard you want. Anyways, everybody, I hope you guys can relate and understand why I really never wanted to work. It's just for somebody else I don't want to work for. I want to work for me. I guess you could say I'm just that weird oddball, but hey, you know, it's possible. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you all in the next one, so I'll see you all later. Peace out, everybody.